Happy holidays, everyone. By the time you're watching this, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever the Santa deniers end up celebrating, will be over and we'll have already rung in the new year. Looking back at what I've done for the past 12 months, I'm fairly satisfied with how things are going. I started off last year by talking about the infrequent uploads and all the problems that come with that. And no, the channel hasn't 180'd into becoming super duper productive, but I do like where things are going right now. While none of my recent videos did extremely well in terms of views, the quality of my uploads have been consistently good, and I can confidently say that I'm putting my best foot forward with the content that I'm producing. These videos aren't just good by the low standards given to a relatively small YouTube channel, they're just good in general, and I like that I can say that. For those of you who are curious as to what videos I liked the most that were made this year, the videos that best reflected my effort from 2021 are these three. The video I made ranking the survivors from Risk of Rain 2 is one that I look back fondly on. I like the humor that I was able to put in, and I also noticed that stylistically I was able to stand out from the other Risk of Rain 2 videos that were made at the time. Just ignore the comment section fixating on the one mistake made early on in the video. Okay, thanks. The Celeste review was really fun to make since I was able to collaborate with Stephanie Sparta, a great content creator whose videos that I highly recommend. And I feel like we did the game justice. My recent video on the Count Lucanor and Yuppie Psycho is my most polished work as far as the scripting and editing goes, and I like how I was able to shine a light on a fairly obscure set of games. In general, that's the type of content that I'd like to make a little bit more of in the future. At some point, I made Project M5, an experimental open collaboration where I got a few content creators to talk about the Metroid series in anticipation for Metroid Dread. I liked the video I was able to make, and I also want to take note and mention that two of the content creators that joined in actually returned from the dead for a brief moment just for the collab. That was pretty cool. A small part of me wants to do something like that again, but I'll have to wait and see with the upcoming releases and such. Since I'm talking about videos, let's go into what's coming up next. I already have two projects in the works for January, and I'm hoping to get them out as soon as possible. The first video is the same as the ones I've done in years prior, where I talk about the best games that I played in 2021. Not much to say about that aside from the fact that I'll be gushing about two games in particular because the wait for them was, pretty brutal. After that, I'll be making a review on the cult classic Psychonauts. This video was supposed to be released in December, but the last project took a lot more time than I expected, so it's been pushed back to January. I'm aiming to get that out by the end of January, but in the worst case scenario, it'll be released in early to mid-February instead. Everything else I have planned is in an early phase of production, and I'll need to take the time to write, record, and edit the videos together. But if you need to keep in touch, I have a Twitter and Discord for updating my community on my future projects, and to talk about random stuff, both of which are going to be linked in the description. Going past my current projects, the general direction for my channel is going to remain consistent with last year, keeping up the same type of content, but you should expect me to make the occasional change here and there when I feel like experimenting. I expect more reviews to come down the line. Those videos have been very well received, and in general it's a really good format for me to talk about the games that I like. I'll be jumping around many different genres from the handful of games that I plan on talking about, though of the handful of games that I want to discuss, quite a few of them are Metroidvania games, so just keep that in mind. I also plan on reviewing a couple games outside of the indie scene, with one project I want to do requiring a proper console setup to record footage. I plan on getting back into making countdowns, since that was the initial identity of the channel, so expect a few of those to come in as the year rolls along. I have a few ideas on the back burner, but I'll have to wait and see on what topic that I want to tackle first. Another thing I definitely want to do is to get more collaborations done this year. I met plenty of cool people who make content with a similar vibe to what I do, so getting to make more videos like the Celeste review, for example, would be fun. If you're one of these content creators I want to work with, expect a DM in the not too distant future. For those who don't know, I actually have a second channel. I initially made it to re-upload my live stream since every time I stream, half of the people who would have watched it said they just didn't have the time to tune in, so I made a place for people to watch the reruns of it. However, on top of the time and energy needed to re-upload several hour-plus long videos to YouTube not really being worth the time nor the energy, no one seemed to actually watch them. So rather than keeping this channel around for videos that no one's gonna watch, I'm deciding to rework it into something else in 2022. If I make a silly joke video on Twitter, the re-upload is going on this channel instead of my main one. And whenever I feel like experimenting and going outside the realm of video game related topics, I'll use the second channel as a refuge for these weird and experimental type of videos. Don't expect this change right away, but expect to hear about it more in the future. One of my biggest goals every year is to grow the channel, so I can reach more people. However, up until this point, I don't think I've given much of an incentive to reach any milestone. So, let's change that. When looking over my channel, I've noticed that there's a decent chunk of my content that I openly discourage people from watching because they're old and not really good. If you're wondering why I keep those videos up, it's because I want to show how far I've come as a creator from 2015. But now I want to show it in a more productive way. So if we hit 2,000 subscribers, I'll make a Q&A like I did last time, but I also plan on remaking all of my 2015 videos to meet my modern day standards. Many of these old countdowns had a good foundation for a fun video, and I want to do justice to these topics. And to keep these videos fresh, I'll be talking about a different assortment of games that I've been playing over the past 6+ years. If any of this sounds interesting, then let's push to reach that milestone. Let's talk about live streaming. Man, it has been a while since I've talked about that. Now that I mentioned that, there's not much to say here. I plan on making a return to Twitch streaming, but I'll be using it in a more casual way as opposed to the intense push for success that I was trying to do years prior. The idea that I have is to stream some of my editing work, then casually play some games from my Steam library. Though I might just default to playing roguelites like I usually do. The reason why I burned out last time was that I was put off by the low numbers I've been getting and a lack of feedback, so instead I'll be trying to use Twitch as a place to chill and talk with my community. One of the biggest annoyances when making videos on YouTube is that smaller creators are just screaming into the void and hoping that someone hears it. I've been dealing with that for a good while, so I'm making a survey to gauge what my audience wants to watch, along with some other miscellaneous info, and I'll be linking to it in the description, and I don't know, maybe putting it in the card if I can. If you're a regular viewer, feel free to take some time to actually go through it. It would really mean the world to me. Anyhow, that's all I gotta say with this weird retrospect update video thing. I'm gonna go and start working on the next video. And let's work together and make 2022 a great year. Anyhow, this is the Renegade Master, and I'm signing out.